guys, welcome back to episode 13 of When Life Gets Strange. Today, we're going to be talking about how to handle change, but to be able to handle it in a peaceful way. So, change is a part of our everyday life, especially for military spouses. Some of the changes we can plan for, and some of them we can't. Some are exciting, some they're just heartbreaking. And I'm sure as a military spouse, we've experienced all of it. Some of the changes that we get, we've asked for. Like sometimes we want to move to a new duty station, but sometimes we don't. So some of those things we don't ask for. Change comes in many forms. The new duty station, your husband going on a deployment, having a baby, going back to school, your kids going to elementary school, middle school, high school, kids moving away to college, going on a mission for their church, children joining the military, your friends moving to a new duty station, your children's friends moving away. That change, that one's pretty hard for me. My heart goes out to my children when they leave their friends or their friends are moving away. We have that one coming up in the next few months. All of my daughter's friends are moving away throughout the summer and fall, and my heart, it already hurts for her. But I also want to believe that she's going to be okay. Change can be when someone we love dies, rather it's on time or unexpected. As military spouses, we've experienced a lot of unexpected death. And rather it was one that we knew was coming or it's unexpected, it's still a big change and it's hard. When we can see changes in our health conditions, my sister recently joked, she just turned 50, about how hard it's been. And the weight gain, and I was thinking kind of the same thing about 40. When your spouse gets assigned to a new unit. So you might be at a duty station and love the unit, and then you get switched to a new one, or you get a new command, or your spouse takes over command. Now, we could go on and on all day about change because obviously it is important, it's a big part of our lives. I have worked with dozens of individuals, especially military spouses, through all kinds of change. And I've been able to see some patterns. So today, I want to share with you 7 strategies to help you navigate change that will help you do so with more peace. Okay. So, number one, it's totally normal. Your brain you're human, you have a brain, and it's more efficient than any computer, iPhone, smart device, anything that man has created. Your God made human brain is way more amazing and more efficient than any of those. So again, as I'm working as a life coach, I study the brain all the time and I'm continuing to learn about it. I love learning. I love learning how the brain works. I love learning how we think, how we function. So, a couple of things that we know about the brain is that it's normal to struggle with change. And part of that is because your brain likes to delegate things. So, here's an example, right? You're walking down the sidewalk and you see this thin, long thing in front of you, and your brain decides it could be dangerous, that it could be a snake. And without even thinking about it, your amygdala, that's part of your brain, will kick in and you jump out of the way. And it happens within seconds. You don't even really have time to think about it. And then you're like, oh, maybe that was just a tree branch. I thought that was a snake. That's interesting. That's after your brain has worked to protect you from the danger. That's how amazing our brain is. Now, even when it doesn't happen instantly, like in that situation, our brains are so still super efficient. For example, we have routines and habits that we do every day. Like for me, I get up and I turn on a scripture podcast. And then I listen to that for 15 to 30 minutes. And that's kind of my waking up time. I'm kind of pondering. And then I get out of bed and I get water. And then I go and I brush my teeth. And I don't have to think about any of these things. I know how to turn on the podcast. I know how to get a cup of water. I know how to brush my teeth. And so while I'm getting the water in my teeth, I might be thinking about all the things that I need to do today. Or I might get a great idea for you guys. Like I have another idea for a podcast that's coming up that came to me this morning while I was brushing my teeth and getting ready for the day. Because my brain already knows how to do those things, I don't have to spend my conscious energy thinking about them. And so my unconscious just starts doing the other thinking. That's our amazing. That was my amazing brain at work. It helps us to operate so well in this world without even using too much energy. However, when we make a change, when something in our life changes, suddenly a lot of things that we used to do automatically, we can't anymore. And we have to think about it more. And that's okay. This is all totally normal. And your brain, it might not like that. It can, because it can't be as efficient as it was used to be. And so some of that negative emotion that you experience as you go through change, it's totally normal. That's just your brain working so well. You're a human having a human experience. So stop thinking I should be handling this better and just try this on. This is completely normal. How does that thought feel when you're going through change? This is totally normal. All right. So strategy number 2, shorten your lens. Now, your amazing brain does this automatically in many cases. So if you're crossing the road and you checked and there's no cars and you start to walk and you're just kind of moseying around and out of nowhere a car shows up, your brain immediately shortens that lens into what do we need to do right now to survive so we don't get hit by this car. And guess what? It's going to cause you to run out of the way, and it's totally going to protect you in that instant. So your brain, it shortens the lens to what's happening in the next 5 seconds. You stop worrying about what you're making for dinner. You stop feeling guilty that you didn't do that thing yesterday. You focus, you shorten that lens to what is happening right now, and that amygdala kicks in, and we call that the amygdala attack, and it saves your life. It gets you out of the way of danger. But did you know you can help your brain do this in other situations? I know we have that desire to focus on the present to survive, but then we also have the part of the brain that wants to think about the future because it thinks in some way that preventative and in some ways that can protect you and it can help you to prevent negative emotions or a disaster of some sort. So you kind of have to balance these two and choose the focus of your lens, right? So one of the things that I try and do, and encourage my clients to do, if you're in the middle of a big emotional change, perhaps you've lost a loved one or you're moving to a new duty station. It could be a change that you want or a change that you didn't. And now you're struggling with all those emotions that you're creating. You're missing your friends, you're missing your home, the life you had. So if you're super highly emotional charged, shorten that lens up. Instead of thinking, what am I going to be doing in the next month or in the next year or even in the next 3 years? Just shorten your lens. What are you going to do in the next couple of hours? What am I going to do for breakfast? Maybe I just need to get out the door and to the things that I wanted to do today. And let's not worry about what's going to happen when I get home and what's going to happen tomorrow. We bring the lens in, and the brain will do a much better job of helping you to navigate what's going on for you right now in the present. So I work with a lot of women, a lot of military spouses, right? That's kind of my forte is you ladies because I love you. And I've heard so many say, marriage is really challenging. I just don't know if I am cut out to be a military spouse. The deployment, the long hours, the trainings, the military telling me where we move and when my husband can take leave and how far we can go. And I've experienced a lot of that. Just this summer, we wanted to go to Utah and we wanted to drive out and drive back. And so we wanted to take 30 days of leave. And because of the training schedule, we were told no. And so it was really disappointing. We didn't get to go out to my husband's reunion. And we're like, oh. So in these situations, I'm like, okay, what do we want to decide? What if we don't worry about the deployments? What if we just decide what we want to do this week? Maybe this month. And so we shorten it in, right? And so like for us, we weren't allowed to take 30 days of leave all at once, but my husband still had to take 30 days of leave. So he got the training schedule and he's like, all right, when can I take leave? And so he's got a couple of days here and a couple of days there. And so we might not be able to go back to Utah and go to his family reunion, which we're totally bummed about, but we're taking all these little pockets of leave and we're getting lots of good quality family time in. We're going kayaking. We're going up to the lake. We're going to go watch the fireworks at Niagara Falls sometime this month in July. And all of those things are going to be great. And it was because we were able to focus in instead of being so frustrated that we couldn't do what we wanted. And we decided to roll with the change, to roll with the plans that we can make, and to make the best of them. So shorten your lens. Don't worry about it. Just think about who you want to be, what you want to do with your marriage this week, this month, even just today. How do you want to show up? Now, eventually we will lengthen your lens again in other areas. But right now we're talking about something challenging that you're going through. Bring that lens in closer. I love the idea that worry is just a misuse of your imagination. So if you're worried about something, just bring that lens in closer. Focus on the next thing that you need to do. Sorry, guys, my daughter just kind of walked in. We're getting ready to go visit a friend's this weekend. And so, yeah, but she's out again. So back to this. All right. So strategy number 3 is to minimize decisions where possible. Our brains get into overwhelm when we're trying to make new decisions all the time. And change comes with a lot of new decisions. Think about moving to a new duty station, your spouse deploying. Now you're taking on some of the roles that he had been doing. And there's a lot of decisions to be made. So what decisions can we decide ahead of time? What decisions can we give to other people? So we've moved to a new duty station. You have to figure out where to grocery shop, where is the grocery store, how is it laid out? And that can get really overwhelming. Where's all the foods that you normally buy? So one way you can minimize your decisions with the groceries is, hey, kids, what would you like to eat? And let them pick out a meal. And then you can just get those, and you didn't have to decide the food that needs to be bought because each of your kids got to pick out a meal. Maybe your husband made a meal. Maybe you decide that you're just going to order a meal in a couple of nights. It's all okay. Go ahead and minimize the decisions where possible. So one way that you can minimize your decisions is to ease up a little bit on your expectations. Maybe you're not going to go for a walk. Maybe you're not going to buy all the things that you normally buy at the grocery store because you don't know where they are. You're just going to pick one or two of your favorites. And the next time you go, you'll add in a couple of other ones. And you'll slowly build into it to minimize that decision fatigue. It's all good. Now, one other way to do that is to make your decisions in advance. Instead of waiting until Monday morning when all your kids are gone to school, decide Sunday night. What are you going to do on Monday while they're at school? And then when they're gone, stick to that decision. You don't second guess it because that is draining. All right. Your husband might be able to make some decisions, other people, your friend. Now, letting other people make decisions requires you to let go of some of your control. But if you can manage that side of yourself, then that can save you a ton of energy. That's a hard one for me. I love to be in control. I love to tell everybody what to do and how to do it and have things done my way. It's but I'm also a really good follower. So if I'm on your group and you're the group leader and you need something done, I'm going to get it done for you. So be willing to allow others to help you make decisions, because sometimes that just will make your life easier. Now, sometimes we might have children who are struggling. We get to decide it. You can decide ahead of time how you want to show up. So I know when my daughter's friends move away, she's going to struggle some. She's probably going to be a little bit more moody. She's a teenage girl. Of course, she's going to have some moods anyways, but I've already decided she's going to be a little bit more moody. I've decided that we're going to do some more one-on-one things together. We're going to find other people that maybe she wants to build a friendship with, that she might want to build a friendship with, and invite them to come and do things if she wants. Like, I don't want to force her to do these things, but I want to decide. I'm deciding ahead of time that I want to show up for her. I want to schedule time to just go drive around, because my kids, I found they all talk a lot in the car. And so as I'm planning ahead for this and I'm planning, okay, these friends are moving during this time frame. Okay, let's go do this. All right, let's do this activity. And as we're thinking about it and prepping for it, it's going to help and it's going to allow me to show up in a way to support her because that's what I want to do. All right, so strategy number 4 is allow yourself to feel your feelings. Now, I know a lot of us were thinking that's just crazy, but I really want you to take the time to allow it. You're going to have positive, you're going to have what I refer to as clean and dirty pain. And I learned that from Jody Moore. And some of that, a lot of it is just clean pain. And I want you to be willing to feel any feeling. So this isn't saying that dirty pain is always bad. Usually dirty pain comes because, well, okay, so the concept of clean pain and dirty pain. Clean pain is what you naturally feel. It's missing your friends. It's being, oh, this is overwhelming, trying to learn all these new things. The dirty pain comes in when we've not allowing ourselves to process that clean pain. And it's just building and building and building until we have such a hard time functioning. And that's when we refer to it as dirty pain. But if we just allow the feelings and we process them, yeah, this is a little bit overwhelming trying to find where's the church and where's the grocery stores and where's the schools and where's the gym and where's the doctors and where about the dentist and all of these other decisions that we have to make when change happens. My husband's deployed. Now I got to figure out where did he put this tool that I need to do this thing that I wish he had done before he left. If we just allow those feelings, then they're not going to debilitize us. We're going to be able to continue moving forward. There's going to be a lot of clean pain. It's all these things that I'm telling you about. It's the discomfort of something new. It's the decisions that have to be made and allowing the overwhelm, allowing the sadness, allowing the grief, allowing all the pain that comes from the experience. And then the thoughts we want to have about it is really an important part of navigating change with peace. So, in order to do that, you have to be willing to feel the feelings. Instead of resisting and buffering those feelings, just relax into them. Ask yourself, where am I feeling this in my body? What does it look like? What does it feel like? Is it hot? Is it cold? Is it heavy? Is it tingly? And just allow it and process them. And then you'll be able to move on so much easier. Okay, so strategy number 5 is to become future focused instead of past focused. So when we're navigating change, the brain really wants to go to the past. It wants to tell us how great everything was before, even if we didn't think it was so great. Like I've been at duty stations in the past where I was like, oh my goodness, this place is so hard. It was hard and I couldn't find things to like about it. And I kind of wanted to complain about them. And yet when we moved from it, my brain was like, well, what about this great thing and this great thing? And look at all these great friends you had. And well, looking back, all those things were true, but I didn't see them in the moment, right? And so our brain loves to live in the past and it loves to tell us how great it was. And so that was really interesting for me to learn and to see how that really played out. But in that future, that new duty station, that whatever that future may be, going to a new school, going back to school, making new friends, even at the current duty station, because your friends have moved away. We're not sure what the future, we got nothing to draw from. It's all going to be new. It requires us to use our imagination in a much more challenging way than worry. The future is just too broad for our brains to really get traction over it unless we direct it intentionally. So we have to tell our brains what to look for. Now, be willing to let go of that past and to think about the future. You have the ability to start over, to create a different future, whatever future you want. And it's so cool. The truth is, we create what we focus on. I like to think about how we're taught to pray in my religion. As a member of the Church of Jesus Christ, we're taught to pray with gratitude. to thank the Lord for all the things that we have, and then to ask Him for the things that we might need. And why is that? Because our brains are going to find what it focuses on. That's just human nature, right? So if we're focusing on the things that we're grateful for, and then we're asking for help, maybe we need help. Maybe we're praying that our kids, for me, that my daughter friends that next friend here, that my boys can figure out what they want to do. Where do they want to go to college? Do they want to join the military? Do they just want to work for a couple of years and save money? All of it, that they can find the answers, that they can find their way. So when your brain wants to get into the habit of just replaying the past, I kind of like to use the example of, okay, we're going to change the channel on the TV. Let's think about the future instead. What do you want your future to be with regards to the new duty station, your husband's job, finding a friend, a gym? What do you want your life to look like where you're at? What do you do every day? What do you want? How do you want to show up, right? How do you want to wear your hair? I know, so many simple things. I remember when we were first young and married in the military and we'd move, and I was like, okay, this duty station had all these little kids. I had 4 kids in 5 years. I'm going to get up and do my hair and makeup every day, and it's going to be fantastic. And it would work for a little while, and then I'd fall into my old habits. But now at this duty station, as my kids have gotten older, that's one of the things I do every day for me. I get up, I get ready, I'm ready to go. I could walk out the door, you could call me, and I'm ready to go, because that's kind of who I want to be. And it's taken me a while to get there, instead of being in comfy clothes, or what I would refer to. My clothes are actually still pretty comfy, but because I believe in wearing comfy stuff. But I get to decide every time we move, who do I want to be? Or any day, anytime, I can decide. And so, how do I want to show up for my husband's job? What kind of spouse do I want to be? Do I want to help with the FRG or not? You get to decide all of it. Now, it can be very challenging questions. What do you want to do? What does your future look like? What about this duty station, your husband's job? Because your brain, it doesn't want to let go of the past, but the future is what we can control. We are creating our future, whether we think about it or not. The past, it's in the past. It's done. We can't do anything about it. We can't go and change it. And so wishing it were different, it doesn't really serve any purpose. Go ahead, focus on what you want. Think about it and move forward. Okay, strategy number 6. Be compassionate with yourself. Because of all of the things that are happening on your brain, sometimes we may not show up as our best selves. We may not exercise every day like we were before we moved, before the change happened. Rather, that's the new duty station, something going on with your children that caused a change. You might not even like the version that you're being right then, but that's okay. Maybe you're not being as kind. Maybe you're a little bit less patient. You're a little bit more grumpy. And then you're hating yourself for behaving that way. And you're starting to talk bad to yourself. Stop it. That does not help you at all. You have to love yourself. You have to be compassionate with yourself. And now people are going to say, so I should just let myself off the hook? Is that it? No. I'm just excusing when I behave bad? No. But when we beat ourselves up, we're not going to change. We're just going to go into shame. And shame is just a form of hating ourselves. It says something is wrong with me. And I don't want you to do that. I don't want to do that to myself. I don't want to do that going forward. However, guilt can be useful. But most of us, we don't stay in guilt. We go right from guilt into shame. And shame is so toxic. It's not necessary. So when you're in the midst of change, slow down a little bit. Remember that your brain, it's just freaking out. You're navigating a lot. You're making a lot of new decisions. There's a lot of unknown, and that's kind of scary. The brain thinks it's all of this is scary, that all of this new, this unknown, all these new decisions, it's all scary. And so our brains are so amazing. and they're wired to protect us, and that's what it's trying to do. You're yours Be kind. Be kind to yourself. From kindness, and you're going to improve. You're going to get back to your old self so much faster, to the person that you were and to the person that you want to be. So, the last strategy, number 7, is that I want to offer you today is to be open to the growth that is available because of the change. Here's the truth. Change is how we grow. Change helps us to become, the challenges help us to become the next version of ourselves that we want to be. And that can be the challenges that we invited and the challenges that we didn't invite, but always they give us the opportunity to grow and evolve. I remember a long time ago when Spencer first joined the military. I was kind of say Spencer and I, because it's a commitment that we've both made, right? And I was pregnant with our son, and I had him on the day that Spencer was going from basic and AIT. And this was back before cell phones. I couldn't get a hold of him. And we finally did. And just kind of navigating that. And then he finished all of his training, and we got to move out to Fort Campbell, Kentucky. And we lived in a little town called Hopkinsville, and I loved it there. Oh, I think of Hopkinsville, and my heart is just filled with so much love for the people in that place. But let me tell you, it was so hard when we first got there. And we left behind all of our family, everybody and everything we knew. And we're in this little town, and we had one vehicle, and I had 3 little boys, 3 and under, and Spencer was gone. He was working so many crazy long hours. I'm telling you, he left by like 4 in the morning and didn't get home till after 10 o'clock at night. And our baby Joe at the time just had constant ear infections. And so Spencer would get home at like 10 o'clock, and I would load him up, and I would take Joe to the emergency room so that I could get medicine for his ears. And it was just such a hard time. And it was so challenging and so hard. And how I wish I'd had these tools to focus in. Instead, I just sat in so much overwhelm and guilt that I wasn't enough, that I couldn't do it. I couldn't be a military spouse, that this life was just too hard. However, we continued on, and we made it through, and Spencer's training finished, and his hours got better, and he got a motorcycle, and I was able to have a vehicle and to get out of my house, and I found church. The nice thing about being a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, you're assigned a ward. And so, as though I didn't have family there were people that I could reach out to, and who helped me, and who took me under their wing, and other military spouses who showed me that it could be done, that this challenge was okay, that this change was going to be okay. And now, 18 years later, that's what I get to do. I get to help these new military spouses who are feeling like this change is too hard, that you can't do it. But I'm here to tell you that you can. If I can do it, you can do it. You can be successful in this. And there are going to be days where you don't want to, and it's going to be hard, and it's all okay. Just allow it, and just know that you're doing the best that you can. Focus in. Take these steps that I've taught you today and use them to help you navigate the change and the challenges. And I promise you, as you do so, you'll be able to find some peace throughout them. Because I wouldn't trade the past 18 years for anything. The connection that I've formed with my husband, the connection that I have with my friends, with my family. My little brother in our church, we give talks, and one of the things that he said about me was that wherever I go, I have friends who are willing to do anything for me. And that's totally true, because being in the military and the friendships that you make, you become family. You're willing to do hard things for each other. You're willing to drive vehicles across the country. You're willing to go and clean houses and help pack up boxes and watch children. It doesn't matter. We're there for each other. Being a military spouse has taught me to fight for and to value my marriage and my friends. It has taught me how strong I truly am and that I can handle anything. Okay, so the steps to handling change with peace is that's all totally normal. Your brain is going to freak out and it's okay. Shorten your lens. What is the next thing you have to do? Rather that's getting out of bed to pick up a crying baby, turning off your alarm, whatever it is, shorten that lens. Focus on the next thing you have to do. Minimize your decisions. Are there decisions that other people can make for you? Decisions that you can put off for a little while. I always like to, when we're going to go to move, to get a physical and to get dental cleanings, like right before we go. So we have 6 months. We have some time to find a dentist before we need to get into a doctor. Feel your feelings. It's okay. Allow them, process them. Focus, future focus. Go to the future instead of the past. Have compassion for yourself. Everything's not going to look the same as it did before, and that's okay. And lastly, and most importantly, be open to the growth that comes with the change. I've experienced, my husband and I have had some real challenges, some change that was really hard, but I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that change helped us to grow together as a couple and individually. I've watched my children struggle with change and I've seen them grow. So be open to the growth. Thanks for being here, guys. If you enjoyed this podcast, share it. Please leave me a review. As always, you can find me at Maria Strange Coaching on Facebook and Instagram. I hope you guys have a great day and we'll see you next week. Bye.